If you think your system is clogged or losing power, one of the first things you want to do is check your hose. And we have a very simple way to check your hose. You want to just get your hose, take a nickel, and just drop it through the hose, and just feed the hose, and that nickel should come out the other end. If it does, then your hose is good. Now if it doesn't, then your hose is clogged. Occasionally a central vacuum system can get clogged or lose suction. I'm going to walk you through some troubleshooting points that we've developed over the years. First thing you want to do with your central vac system is turn it on with everything closed. That means if you have a vac pan or an inlet, you want to be sure that nothing is plugged into it or that it's completely closed. And what you do, you walk over to the unit. Most central vacs have switches near the top of the unit. You turn that switch on and you let it run for about 10 seconds and you feel the exhaust coming out. After about 10 seconds, there should be hardly any air blown out of that exhaust. You may have a central vac system that does not have a switch on it. I'm going to show you how you can turn on a system that does not have a switch, and it's very, very simple. There's two little connectors right here. They're low voltage. You can use a screwdriver blade and short them, and we won't have to call 911 because it's low voltage. You just put the blade in between that. And that turns the system on. Just hold it firmly against there and the system will run, and then you can test it for suction right at the unit. Now, if there's a lot of air blowing out that exhaust with everything sealed, then there's an issue. One of the things you want to do, you want to check the filter in it, put a new clean bag in it, and then after you've determined that there is air blowing out of the exhaust, you want to disconnect the pipe that brings the dirt into the canister, which is usually located towards the bottom, either on the left or right hand side. And then you want to turn the system on, put your hand over that 2-inch orifice, and again, there should be hardly any air blowing out of the exhaust of that system after about 10 seconds. Now, if there's air blowing out the exhaust of that system, that means there's something wrong with the tank. There's a gasket or something there that's not right. That doesn't happen too often, but you definitely want to determine if the unit's okay. If the unit's okay, then you can go on to a few other steps. Once you determine that your unit has good suction, then we know there's nothing wrong with the unit. Now, if there was a lot of air coming out of the unit with everything sealed, that means you have most likely an open in your tubing. And what you want to do, you want to try to trace the tube, be sure that there's not a pipe that's come disconnected, maybe in an attic, maybe you've had some workers up there, somebody's kicked a pipe or something, so you want to check that. Now, if it's sealed and there's hardly any air blowing out with the unit all sealed up, that means you have a clog. So you want to go next and get another vacuum, and I'll walk you through some steps there. Once you determine that your system is definitely clogged and it's not in your hose, then you want to get a small little vacuum. We use a little Sanitaire Electrolux vacuum cleaner here that does a really good job. We carry these out on job sites all the time. And what you want to do, it's very important to disconnect your pipe that goes into your central vacuum unit, or take the bucket off your central vacuum unit so that you're not sucking through the entire system. Then you just walk over to your inlets and you stick the hose in there. You turn your vacuum on, and you just vacuum for 10, 20, 30 seconds, and most of the time you're going to extract material out of there. And if you just go to each inlet and do that, I would say 90% of the time you can unclog a central vacuum in this way.